Verbal agreements, handshakes, phone calls, those are all great. Awesome that somebody wants to work with you, but it means nothing until it is written down on paper. This is the episode where we talk about how to close the deal and how to actually make it official. Today's video is my last part of my free freelance sales course brought to you by Pipedrive. Pipedrive is the first CRM designed by salespeople for salespeople, and it's a fantastic tool for any freelancer or service provider looking to grow their business. So once you've sent your client a proposal and have begun negotiations, you can move them to negotiations started. This is the point where I would begin drawing up a contract and getting them to sign off on that. And don't worry, I'll share lots more about what you should include in that doc in the rest of this episode. Now, after they've signed the contract, be sure to go in and add details about your payment schedule or subscription so you can accurately track revenue. And of course, you want to click on one and then do a little happy dance. It goes without saying that you need a contract. A contract is going to be the thing that binds both of you to your end of the deal, right? It tells the client, yes, I am going to actually fulfill these responsibilities. I'm actually going to do the things that I said I'm able to do for you. And it says to you that the client is going to pay you on time and that they're going to pay you the amount of money that you need to get the job done. So make a contract, write a contract. There are plenty of resources out there to get contract templates. You can also work directly with a lawyer to have them customize a template for you that you can repurpose for, client over client. Whatever the case is, I don't care if it's on a napkin. I mean, don't take that as legal advice because it might not hold up, but something is most certainly better than nothing. So make sure that you do write a contract. Some of the things that are the most important to include in your contract are, number one, the scope of the project. What are you actually being hired to do? If you say something general like social media strategy, for example, what does that mean? Does that mean that you're an on-call phone consultant that they can call you any time of day and ask for help? Do they have a certain number of hours? Are these pre-scheduled calls? Are you actually getting hands-on and doing a certain number of kind of labor hours, done for you hours? Like saying something like social media strategy or social media management or anything like that, agency retainer, that can be very vast, right? That can vary a lot. So you want to make sure that you really spell out the scope. What are you being paid to do? You also want to make sure that you add in the budget. How much are you being paid to do that job? And how often? What are the payment terms? Not only, hey, we get paid $3,000 a month for this service, but is that invoice due on receipt? Is it due on the first of the month, the middle of the month, the end of the month, and so on? Having all of these things written out in the contract is just going to make sure that you both are on the same page and that hopefully there will be no squabbles or disagreements in the future. Once the contract is signed by both parties, I like to pretty much immediately schedule what I call a kickoff call or an onboarding call. On this call, we will, number one, go over the contract, the main pieces of the contract. We don't need to read all 10 pages or however long it is, but I'm just gonna say, hey, just to confirm, here's the scope. Did you have any questions about those deliverables or the timeline or anything like that? Do you have any questions about the payment software that we use or when those invoices are gonna come in? Maybe this is the time where you can onboard them onto your tool if you have something specific that you use. In general, make it as easy for people to pay you as possible. I can go on a whole rant on that, but we'll save that one maybe for another video. On that onboarding call, depending on the service that you provide, you should also probably have some type of a checklist that you need to do your job. So for the social media management world, this generally means getting access to all of their social media profiles. That's going ahead and having them add you as an admin to their Facebook page or their LinkedIn company page, their YouTube, any of those types of platforms, and also figuring out a strategy that you're going to use to share those passwords that cannot be admin accessed. For example, an Instagram password. Are you going to help them use a tool like 1Password? Do they already have a password manager? All of those little details, you want to get those out of the way. And in most cases, I want to get those done on a call, because if you work with anybody who is less tech savvy than you, which if you're a social media manager, that's probably going to be a lot of people. We have to be sensitive to that and understanding of that. Sometimes these step-by-steps can be hard, and I have had contracts take months to officially kick off when I've waited for people to add me as an admin and things like that. So get on a call, share your screen, have them share their screen, and just get all of that stuff taken care of right away. I think another piece of this that's really important is setting timelines. Make sure that you communicate those timelines. I think your timeline should start being communicated as early as the proposal and into the contract and into the onboarding call, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. But now that you have actually signed the contract and you are guaranteed to be working with them, this is a good time just to confirm everything's, working out, start to put dates on calendars. For example, if I work with a consulting or a coaching client, I schedule all of our calls ahead of time. I don't schedule them week by week because I know we're all busy people and our calendars can fill up. So that's a good time to do all of those things as well. Lastly, I like to send off a welcome kit, or basically just a printable or savable document for them where all of the most important information about our relationship is going to be housed. So in that welcome kit, I like to include my contact information and anybody else who's working on their account's contact information and our communication preferences. So I have a phone number listed for emergencies, and we talk about, and it's explained in the welcome kit what an emergency is. But in most cases, I explain to them, hey, here's both of our email addresses and here's the main company email address if anything happens. That way my client can, like I said, print it off, put it at their desk if they need it, send it along to another team member if they need it. It's just really easily accessible, so they're not having to dig through multiple email addresses and figuring out, who do I contact if I have a billing issue? Who do I contact if I have a content issue? Everything is really spelled out nicely for them. I also like to include my operating hours in that welcome kit. So again, it's really important to set the expectation for when you'll be available to respond to them and what they can kind of expect as typical communication. A lot of the times when I talk to freelancers, some of the biggest issues that we have with our clients is that, there's just unrealistic expectations for communication, meaning their clients are, bugging them every 5 minutes for an answer for something, or the reverse can sometimes be true too. So it is important to start this conversation. And I think that it is totally fair for most industries and in most cases to have a 24-hour business day turnaround, or even maybe a little bit longer depending on what it is that you do and how involved your contract really is, but set that expectation. I also think it's helpful to include in your welcome kit any, need to have links. So if you have a Zoom meeting link that you have recurring meeting links, things like that. If you have any type of client portals or Google Drive folders, anything like that, just having it easily accessible and clickable in that welcome kit is going to be really helpful and really impact the client experience. All right, so I really hope that this series has been helpful for you and that you've enjoyed it. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what episode was the most helpful to you. And if you haven't seen all of the episodes in the series, I will leave the entire playlist link down in the description. Thank you so much to Pipedrive for sponsoring this series, and I hope you check them out as well. I'll leave their link down in the description. Thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.